when I spoke to you for yesterday, you told me you had a 5-hour cut of pirate radio.
Yeah.
And my question is, when can I see it?
You can never see it. No one will ever see it. But it's a funny thing with pirate radio. Now I think about it, I think if I'd written it now, I would have done it as a TV series.
Sure.
Because actually it was very kind of episodic, and we should have done, one where they raid another boat, one where they start to drown, one where the electricity goes down. But it was fun. It was fun at 5 hours, but I don't think for human consumption.
Well, you never know. I mean, Baz just released his Australia cut on Hulu as a miniseries. So maybe you want to revisit that anyway, that's just a hypothetical. So I read a few years ago that Hugh Grant revealed Notting Hill was maybe based on a friend of yours. And I wanted to know if it's possibly time for the truth to come out.
No. I wouldn't go to Hugh Grant for the truth if you're searching for it. It was really based on a kind of fantasy I used to have. I used to go for dinner every week with the same people and have the same conversation. And I remember when I was an obsessive Madonna fan, I thought, what would it be like if at last I managed to walk in with a woman instead of just on my own with a warm bottle of white wine? And so the movie started with that kind of dream scenario of what would it be like if you could. And I was thinking about Madonna, and one of my friends at that dinner was an obsessive Madonna fan, and the other one would definitely never have heard of her. So it was based on a dream rather than on a fact.
So it's the 20th anniversary of Love Actually, and it's now become a Christmas classic. People love the movie. I love the movie. And if it comes on, it means I have to keep watching. When did you realize, wait a minute, this film has become something special to a lot of people?
It was when I started getting texts from people I didn't know very well saying we're watching it again. It did take a while, and it's still a bit of a mystery to me. I mean, I've got a theory. I think the reason people watch it again is they can never remember what's going to happen next. Normally when you watch a movie, they've robbed the bank, they're going to get in the car, drive away, and then they're going to get shot by the police. Whereas even I, when I watch Love Actually, don't have any idea what the next scene is. So I think it's bearable to watch it again because it's always surprising you. But, it's a once in a lifetime bit of luck when you make something, particularly at Christmas. I used to so love watching Charlie Brown's Christmas every Christmas and White Christmas every Christmas. So it's a real little boost for me.
Did you ever think the Andrew Lincoln storyline might be a little too weird?
I am very often told it's a little too weird. It didn't occur to me at the time, but times change. And I remember someone once saying they would like to interview me about it, and they would be focusing on the stalking scene. And I said, "Oh, I didn't know there was a stalking scene." And they said, "Yeah, no, the Andrew Lincoln, that's like top-notch stalking." So, slowly but surely, I've realized what a dreadful mistake I made.
I don't think it's a mistake as much as, it's a little different than the rest. But anyway, there's a new 4K release that's about to come out.
Yeah.
What are you actually most excited for people to see on it?
Well, it is very pretty now. I mean, it is interesting. One of the things I do like about Love Actually is I love how kind of it looks. I think actually the kind of texture of it has a sort of magic to it. And we've really added to that. The 4K, where there were fuzzes in the background, you can see chandeliers and candles and everything like that. So I think it's just a sort of general feeling that the movie somehow got a little bit better, that it's even more cheerful than it was before. So the grade is really lovely. And then we've also remixed it, and that's fun as well because technical things do improve as time goes by. If you can imagine watching a brighter version of White Christmas, what joy that would be.
You've written a lot, but you've only directed a few things. Do you have plans for directing something else, or no?
No, I found directing quite tricky. And I mean, this movie is a great example. I wrote a movie set in New York, which is such a pleasure for me, but I would have felt really insecure as a non-American directing it. And also, I'm getting old, and Sam Boyd, who directed it, is not only an American, but young. So I think I'll always find someone who's better than me now.
I don't necessarily better than you. I just say different than you.
Also, I'm trying to keep my weight down. And when you direct movies, you have to eat a certain number of donuts and bacon sandwiches. And I think that's a heavy price to pay.
I don't think people realize, actually, the one thing is there's a lot of food on movie sets, not in the UK. The UK is a little stingy, but in America, forget it.
Oh. Whatever they call it, that service table. It's the most dreadful temptation. Making a movie is like going to Willy Wonka.
Yes.
It's just sweets everywhere.
Unless you're in the UK. I've done UK set visits, and you're lucky to get a cup of tea.
No, it's true. American movies are better.
Just on craft service.
On craft service. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So a lot of people with Genie will not realize this is a remake of something you made many years ago. And so I'm just curious, how did it come about to remake this?
Well, it's funny. Not long after I made the original movie, which is only an hour long, I thought this would have been fun as a movie. But time goes by, you have children and all that kind of stuff. And then just a couple of years ago, I thought I will go back and look. And my circumstances, that's about kind of, a sad singleton who's just lost his girlfriend. And I thought, well, I'd love to make a movie about families and Christmas. And I can actually write a really different movie. I can set it in America. We can have a female Genie. And then, the dream came true and we got Melissa. So there was just enough, a lot of extra things. And then I do love Christmas movies. And if I can, do another one, that makes me happy.
One of the things about a film where you have a genie and they can wish for anything is it can get expensive very fast.
Yeah.
So how much in the writing of the remake are you thinking, we can't afford that, so let me not even write it?
What normally happens is you write a movie and then people tell you can't afford it. So I don't remember thinking I can't do this or that. And then I think there were moments of realism. We couldn't get a real camel. But I think that on the whole, my imagination's pretty modest. So most of it happens, in a pretty realistic environment. And then once in a while they say, change a Christmas market to a coffee stall.
Sure. You have a number of references to Tom Cruise in the film. And I'm curious, did you need permission when she's wearing that shirt? Like, how did that all come about?
We did need permission from Tom. And it was so sweet that he gave it, because there's an element of teasing. I once tried to do a film with Tom, and he was always so delightful and friendly to me. And I don't know whether the reason he said yes is because, he was so chummy then. But I love the fact that I have eventually written a Tom Cruise movie. Just so happens Tom's not in it.
Exactly.
But he's on the teacher. He's on the teacher. And we've got like a 3-second clip from Mission Impossible.
Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, oh, wow. I mean, you need permission for this. This is you know what I mean? So one of the things about this is that it's more of a family film. And I'm curious, how did the balance of that come about in terms of how much? Actually, let me skip that question altogether. I'm fascinated by the editing process because it's where it all comes together. How did this possibly change in the editing room in ways you didn't expect? Or was this all Sam and you just saw the finished film?
No. I mean, it's editing is my favorite part of the process, because it's just so interesting. You write a film, it reads really well, you shoot the film, you watch it, you think it's the worst film you've ever seen. And it's really interesting. And one of the things, how you have to take out bits, change bits, stress bits. One of the great things about Melissa in this is she's both magical but very normal. And the first time I thought it, I about an hour in, I thought, oh, I've forgotten she's a genie. She's just a lovely woman. And then you have to build up, put scenes where she does magic closer together. And then the great thing about Christmas movies is just the wealth of wonderful Christmas songs. You suddenly can, if it's getting a bit weak, you throw in the OJs or Otis Redding or a bit of Anvil, and suddenly the movie perks up. So, no, just like all my movies, it was a bit of a struggle, but particularly because the two leads, well, I say the two leads, and Mark Maron and Louise Guzman, because the cast was so strong, we had very firm foundations. But as always, it was a journey.
What do you think would surprise soon-to-be fans of Genie to learn about the making of Genie?
Well, I think they shouldn't be surprised that some of the funniest lines were written by Melissa McCarthy and Mark Maron. Sure. I'm quite a tyrant in terms of my own lines, but these were really clever, great American comedians. And they added stuff in. And I think that, I think everyone will perhaps be surprised how convincingly American it is. And that's because, Sam's an American director. And so I hope that it feels like a Richard Curtis movie, but in a whole new world.
I am a fan of your work, have been for a very long time. I'm obviously very curious what you are working on now.
Well, obviously I'm working on buying Christmas presents. And decorating the tree. That's the big stuff. Oh, I've got a few things. I've been working on an animation, which has been a gripping process. I mean, it's the longest filmmaking in the world, but it's really interesting because you write, direct, cast, shoot, and edit all at the same time. So that's been very interesting to me. And I think I might write a play.
Really?
Yeah, go on.
Are you writing it now, or it's?
I've had a go. I've started a couple of them, so I think that might be the next thing I do.
The animated thing you're talking about is called That Christmas.
Yes.
Oh,
that's my final outing to Christmas. By the way, it's all going to be Easter and Midsummer's Day from now on.
Sir, you have an addiction to Christmas. I'm sure that the play takes place at Christmas.
No, there's not going to be any Christmas. I'm going to do delete all on my computer whenever Christmas is mentioned again. But I'm hoping, with Genie, I'm trying to go out with a bang.
Oh, no, I think you mean That Christmas, you're going to go out with a bang.
Oh, yeah. I'm going out with a pre-bang on Genie.
Exactly. When actually is that coming out? Do you know?
Next Christmas, because Christmases take so long.
So a year from now, we will be talking again.
I hope so.
And you will be talking about how the play all of a sudden went to being taking place at Christmas.
Yeah, the play will be Christmas Carol by then.
Right. You have actually done a tremendous amount through your career. And I am curious, if someone has never seen anything you've done before, what do you want them first? What do you want them watching first, and why?
Wow. What the thing I really like, sometimes I go online and I find that somebody who isn't me has edited like my movies down to 3 minutes with a really pretty pop song. I think start with that. Lots of pretty people and no, dodgy jokes. I'd go for Richard Curtis, The Montage. Start there. But I think Four Weddings is lovely. And I wrote a TV show called Blackadder. And the final episode of the final series of that is, I think, an interesting piece of work. So there are some things I like. But start with Genie.
Of course. Last question for you. Which of the films that you worked on or wrote do you think changed in the editing room? Which of the films changed the most in the editing room in ways you didn't expect going in?
Oh, that's definitely Love Actually, strangely, because Love Actually was, 10 stories and it seemed to work well. And it is in a completely different order to what we wrote it in. It's unrecognizable from the original order, even though the scenes are the same. It was like playing three-dimensional chess, because you could put any scene after any scene at any point. That's definitely the one that changed most.
On that note, sir, I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you for giving me your time, and good luck with the rest of your speed dating.
That's so sweet. Don't go changing, and Merry Christmas.
Right. See you later from Horse and Hound.